It says I'm live. Good morning. Hey, everybody. Hi, it's Becky from Power Tools with Thread, and you are in the Stitchuation room. This is our Monday through Friday live chat. And some days we stitch, some days we chat. And today I'm going to cut, and I'll take you along on my method of cutting. I haven't done that before, ever, I don't think, on this channel. Normally, because I got to hit record. Got you. All right, there we go. You guys take the best care of me. I so appreciate it. I got to change out my rotary blade. I got one of those ones that has the ball bearings in it. I really like it. And not one set of glasses to be found, y'all. Okay. I got 48 pair of them in the drawer right next to me on my desk over here. So I see Nancy's got a new great grandbaby. This is her first. So congratulations to you. What a blessing. Good for you. Awesome. Awesome. Just another reason to sew, right? Absolutely. I think that's wonderful. You guys are coming in from all over the country. I see my Texas and California girls are here. We've got Michigan and Florida and just North Carolina, everywhere, Virginia, they're everywhere. So great to see you guys. Let me make sure I can get this undone. Changing a rotary blade. This was pretty easy. I tend to take them off the parts and pieces that I started with. So you guys, I've got to get, what'd you say? You love my shirt, you need one? Yeah. Yeah, if you walk a mile in my shoes, you'll end up in a fabric store, that's for sure. I got to tell y'all, yesterday, we had to go to the lawyer in New Braunfels, which is like an hour away from us. Is this going to work? Maybe I'm taking off the wrong. That was the problem. I'm taking off the wrong one. And so this is good. Let's see. First the button. Then this. This needs. Oh, that's all one piece. That's clean now, right? Anyway, very careful. I usually have a magnet to help me with this. So we went to the lawyers yesterday and finalized our family trust. Yay, that is done. Okay, these are the new ones. The old one will go, I have an old case like this that says used on it with a Sharpie. That'll go in there. And got that done. And then on the way back, we stopped in McQueenie, Texas to have lunch at this this little cafe called Blake's. It's right next door to my quilt shop. Oh, darn. My local quilt shop, Fiberworks Fabric Studio. So we went in there and saw Linda and Sandra, and it was really nice. And don't you know, I didn't buy a thing, but my husband, on the other hand, he got a panel. It's a real tree panel. It's got a deer on it. And then we worked on getting him some border fabric. All right. Brand new rotary blade. We're ready to go. Happy one. What kind of pre-round bobbins do I use? I have a Luminaire. You have a Luminaire. I use the dime. Designs a Machine Embroidery 70 weight pre-wounds. That's what I use because I'm lazy. And one tube of those things will last you forever. I have links to dime below. Oh, today too, I wanted to tell you guys right below the video. First of all, hit the thumbs up if you would, if you're on your tablet or a phone, give the video a thumbs up. And if you're on your TV, hit the up arrow button. I'd appreciate that very much. Totally free. And if you're so inclined, please subscribe. I think you have to be on a tablet or a phone to subscribe. I'm not sure if you can do that on your TV or not. What you can do is watch on TV and have your mobile device right next to you. Anyway, so I have got links to, you guys have been talking about Hoop Sisters, Designs and Machine Embroidery, all that. Y'all, there's links below the video. Hit the more button underneath the video you'll see the description box, and all of that down there helps out the family business quite a bit. So, I mean, I quit work for you guys, right? Okay. So today I'm using the Sew Tights magnetic cutting system. And I've shown you this one time, you guys, on my Sunday live, but I want to show you that I actually truly use it and get you to see how I cut. So let's see here. Oh, yeah. So we went in there and got that done, and he bought some fabric, and then we got home. I finished Molly's quilt that's on the long arm, and today I've got a dermatology appointment at 11:30. That's my annual as well. No worries. And then when I get back from that, I'm going to go ahead and shoot the video on how to use the binding ruler that I developed and get that on there. So this is going to be a very busy, busy day. But I'm glad to see everybody is doing great. All right. Oh, I want to tell you guys. Yeah, I talked about, Judy's asking, I talked about itchy doggy skin. So I did put the link in the description box. Yes, Judy, I did. So what happened the other day, I got to tell you guys. So what happened the other day was, for those who are new, I'll back up. We got my new dog, Frito, back in March. And in May, I had made a video and I was just talking about her. And I said that she had really itchy skin. A lady in England saw that video a month and a half ago or so, a month ago. And yeah, about 6 weeks. And she emailed me and she said that she has a horse and she gives the horse this stuff called Immubiome. And she sent me a link to it. Or no, she didn't. I had to hunt it down. So anyway, it's just a probiotic supplement that you can give this horse and its food. Well, her dog has really itchy skin, and her large animal vet told her to give a tiny bit to the dog because 1 tablespoon of this powder is good for one 1,000-pound horse. And I thought, well, I'm not a fan of steroid shots and expensive allergy medicines or anything like that. So I went ahead and found this stuff. I've got a link to it below. It's non-sponsored, you guys. And told you all about it the other day. So Frito has been on this now. She's 35 pounds. I give her 1/16 of a teaspoon on her food once a day. If you give it to them too much, they get a little, they got to go outside more often than normal. So we backed her off on that. And she's a different dog today. She stopped chewing and itching and scratching and fur missing, stopped all of that. I mean, her fur is coming in nice and beautiful and thick. She looks great. She really does. She's a different dog. And so I had mentioned that to y'all 2 or 3 days ago. Well, I continue to get emails from y'all saying, I need the link. I want to order that, whatever. So yesterday afternoon, I emailed the company. Come to find out, they're out of Austin, Texas. So that's nice. I don't like giving dogs supplements that you buy off the internet usually because, you never know what people are putting in those things. Anyway, I told them, hey, if you've had a rush on this stuff for dogs, that was me. And they emailed me back and they said, oh my goodness, it's been crazy. We've had all of these dog people calling and emailing and ordering this. And she said, it's perfectly fine to give to dogs. And she said that it's human grade probiotics. So I thought that was very cool. Has a smell of a little bit like peanut butter. So seems to be fine. Anyway. Oh, you guys, okay, we've got a virtual kitchen, 0 calories or fat in these, but there are donuts and all kinds of food. So Mona did what? The link is below the video. If you're watching on a TV, jump on your phone or whatever, and it said, this is the supplement I give my dog. It's like $70 for this one, 60 or I think $60, 70 was shipping, right? The lady in England said it's so good, it's worth all of the shipping she pays to get it overseas for her. So that's why I went ahead and did it, and very happy with it. Very, very happy. Our poor fur babies, right? They get crazy. There's also one called Calm. I saw somebody was having a time last night with a dog that was freaking out over thunder. So don't know if it works. Give it a shot, right? Can't hurt if it's human grade and safe. So, Becky's got fresh baked sourdough bread. Yo, I like to eat sourdough bread. My belly likes it very much. Okay, I'm going to start cutting. Y'all, these are blocks for American Pie. My local quilt shop, Fiberworks Fabric Studio, has kits. It started as a block of the month for QT Fabrics, and they're not doing that anymore. But my local quilt shop, if you are so inclined, you want to make one, getting ready for next summer, they have kits of this. Also, yesterday I did finish the binding and the new binding method I love on the Praises quilt for Corey Yoder. I got that done. So it's kind of hanging funny because the rod that it's on is short. The rod ends like right here. But I did the 3 triangles across the top and just sewed it with 3 stitches. It was great. You were eyeballing those stars, Melanie. Thank you. Yeah. I stood back from that and I was like, you know, Thompson, pretty good. So my son is a pastor in Colorado Springs, and I'm going to put a nice rod with this that is big enough and that'll have finials out here on the side, and send it to him to hang in their church somewhere. So that'll be nice, right? Okay. So what you get here, this is what the blocks are going to look like this time. So it's the same outer framing blocks in different colorways. One is in blue and one is in red. What you get different on each one of these are the middles. So like this was a star and a star, and then this one up here was a star and a square, you know? So they're all different. But so this month we have, I forget what that is. It looks like a pinwheel, but it's not. It's 2 sets of flying geese. Right. It's 4 sets of flying geese in the centers. All right. It's Praises. Yes, the Praises quilt. It's not Psalms, it's Praises. And it's by Corey Yoder. The pattern is from Corey Yoder. She's got it on corianderquilts.com. That's her website. And she's a fabric designer from Moda. So this fabric is also designed by Moda. I don't think she designed the fabric. This fabric, this panel fabric is Songbook, the next page. The original Songbook is out. So yeah, the Songbook. Thank you so much, Cheryl. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm very pleased with it too. I thought it turned out just beautiful. So I'm going to show you guys the method behind my madness on how I cut fabric. So it gives me a colorways parts list. All right. And it's like, I don't know how to do this. Okay. So it's like, I've got to do 6, 2 3/4 by 4 3/4, 6, 2 1/2 by 4 1/2, 16, 2 1/2, and then 16, 2 3/4 squares. So I'll just show you this one part. You're not going to make it just looking at these numbers. So let me get this up let me get in real close so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Because this is important how I cut this. Let me hold this real still. I'm looking right here. So 6, 2 3/4, 2 1/2, 2 1/2, 2 3/4. 2 3/4 is bigger than 2 1/2. I need 16 of these and I need 6 of those. So I'm going to cut a couple of strips, 2 3/4, and then 6 of them I will cut to that rectangle, and the rest of them I'll cut to squares. If I have any left over, I will trim 1/4 inch off of those and then cut my 2 1/2s. So I look for the common largest width on everything that's got to be cut out of that one color, that one fabric. and then cut down from there. You'd be surprised how much fabric you save. Okay. Have I ever used a quilt as a curtain cover? Yeah. Yeah, you can use a quilt as a matter of fact, we have one of Keith's quilts up in covering a window in his room where he sews. It's quite dark in there. But all right, I've got to cut. So, okay, this first one. So what I do here, I like to cut with a mat on a mat so that I can move the fabric around as needed without having to actually shift the fabric. So what I do, because there are so many, I need 16 2 3/4 squares and 6 2 3/4 rectangles. So what I'll do is fold the fabric. If you're brand new to quilting, you usually cut on the fold. So the fold is up here and the selvage is down here, 2 layers at a time. I always do that. I try to maximize as much as possible. So I'm going to cut 4 layers at a time. I just folded this background fabric in half. All right. I need 2 3/4 and this ruler right here. So this is the Sew Tights magnetic cutting system. This mat is, they make them for lefties and righties, and it's 2 different colors. So it's dark on one side or it's light on the other, whatever your eyeballs prefer. And there is a tiny, very thin sheet of metal inside of this mat, okay? And then this ruler has magnets inside of the ruler. The ruler is 6.5 by 24, and it has, just like my Quilter Select, the black dots I have are 1-inch markings, and the aquas are on the 1/2-inch markings. And then these are called boosters. These are just little, if you're cutting thick things, they stick to it. Okay. I love this. I've got a link below if you want anything from Sew Tights that is magnets. I've got a link below to this system, but it'll jump you to their site. And I've got a coupon code for 15% off anything that you want to get from them. So this has to be 2 3/4. So I'm going to go ahead and cut 3. And then I'm going to clean up my outer edge. So I'm just going to put the 3 line until I always do this just to get my clean outer edge. I'll just put the 3 line right on the edge of the fabric where I can see a tiny bit of all these edges underneath. I'm just going to clean it up. And then start back here toward you and push away and keep your hand off out of the, don't put your hands over here. That's a big mistake. Normally when I cut, I've got to move my hand. I'll do it, up the ruler. With this ruler, you don't really have to. Okay, I'm going to pull this away. And that way I know I got a nice clean cut without any drama. Okay, I don't want to have any threads pulling in there. So now I'm going to turn the mat around. Lift this off. And now I'm going to cut it to 2 3/4 perfectly. So I'm going to get this right on here. If you have shaky hands, you got a trimmer, life is not treating you nice, this system, I'm not going to lie to you guys, it's an investment. It is fantastic for that. You will no longer have to worry about your ruler wiggling around on you. So I just cut all 4 of those. All right. Okay. So I'll use this for the first set of any kind of long cut. If I'm going to do something shorter, I will usually go ahead and use a shorter ruler just to make life easy. I like to use a ruler that's pretty close to what I need. That's too big. Where's my, I got all these rulers up under here, you guys. Here's what I'm looking for. Quilter Select. I love these rulers. This has a light coating on the back of it here. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these selvages off. Now, when I cut, I look not only at the distance in, but I also look at the line on the top of the fabric and the line on the bottom of the fabric to make sure I'm not wonky, okay? All right, let's grab. So I could fold this over and cut 8 at a time, but I'm not going to. I've got 4 layers here. I need, let's see, I'll go ahead and cut my 16 2 3/4 inch rectangle or squares. So I need 4. You can cut from the other way. I took a Craftsy class called Cut to It. It was fantastic. Very efficient way to cut. So, but if you're cutting from this side over, you use the lines on the mat. If you're cutting from this side over, you use the lines on the ruler. And it's pretty early in the morning, so I'm going to use the lines on the ruler because otherwise I'd have to sit there and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know, I can't do that this early. I needed 16 2 3/4 squares. It takes me about an hour to cut all of this. Okay. I needed a project board too. I didn't bring that, but you know what? I've got another little mat. I've got another mat. And I'll just put those on there. So there's my 16 2 3/4 background squares. And get a little paper and put a check mark that those are done. There. And then I need 6 4 3/4 rectangles. So I'm looking here at the 4 3/4 line. I'm looking here to make sure the line on the ruler is exactly straight on across the top of the fabric, and the little line down here on the bottom is exactly straight. So there's 4 of the 6 that I need. And then 4 3/4. This is really important that you get this right. If you've got a bad cut to start with, don't even bother sewing, okay? Because your everything will be off if you don't get it cut right from the beginning. Okay, so these are done. And now I need to get all this stuff out of the way because I have no room. Because my table is being taken up with all kinds of stuff. This is extra. I will use it. Turn this way. Do you guys cut with a mat on a mat? I got too much stuff. Let me move all this stuff out of the way. Oh, I got to stretch this up. There we go. What are you guys doing? Bernadette, that's a great point. Okay. You should always iron your fabric before you cut it. It does make a difference. She's absolutely right. So if your fabric is not ironed, the fibers have a bend in them. Okay. And you would think that when you mash the ruler on it, that bend flattens out. That may be, but you know, just like they say people have muscle memory, fabric has memory. If you ever noticed, if you have a very flat piece of fabric and you pinch it between your fingers, it will crease, right? And if you open it up and you try to smooth it out, that crease won't come out. Why is that? because those fibers have memory. So you need to use heat. I do not use steam. If you use steam and it works for you, that's great. We're not going to have that battle today, but I don't use steam. To me, steam moisture is to create, to bend the fabric to your will. I want my fabric to maintain the structure that it had when it came from the manufacturer. Okay, here we go again. So now I need 2.5-inch squares. So I'm going to turn my ruler so that I've got that. If you ever have, you're new to quilting, some rulers, and you got to watch, okay? So this is a full inch from this edge. There's a 1/2 inch right here. Well, why would you need a 1/2 inch? Because, see, now I have a clean line. Now I can use this dark line right here, the 2-inch dark line. It's actually the 3-inch coming from the, or 4 coming from the other direction. But I can put this dark line on here, and I don't have to try to get the fabric perfect. Man, I like this, Meg. Love this. Now I've got a perfect 2.5-inch strip. Okay, that should be enough. Uh-oh, Keith's getting the dogs up. 7:30, that's when they get out of bed. Okay. Turn my mat. Oh, did I put my ruler under here? I did. Yeah, I don't usually do cutting with you guys because that involves giving away the pattern. But this pattern is so complex. And if you don't buy the pattern with the kit, then you wouldn't, you know, you can't make it. There's just no way. All right. Oh, let me put this down. Thank you, Bernadette. I appreciate that. Oh my goodness, Janet. She said she received the clearly perfect slotted trimmers I recommended, and you're using them to square up 300 half square triangles. Yes, they are great. They absolutely are. Fabulous. All right. 2.5-inch squares I need. Looking here, here, and here. And I need, how many of them? Oh, I need to mark off that I got my rectangles. I need 16. So I will do this too. I will fold. I'm going to, I'll trim the edge off of this just a little bit. When I've got a whole bunch to do, y'all, I'll go ahead and trim the edge. And when you got a whole bunch to do, you do need a brand new rotary cutter. That's 8. And 2.5. Okay. There's 8. There's 16. Okay. Ooh, don't you love a new rotary blade, y'all? That makes my day. Okay. And I need 6 2.5 by 4.5 inch rectangles. I think 16 2.5 inch squares, 2.5 by 4.5 inch rectangles. Okay. 4.5. There's 4. And I'm going to take this one. And here's 2. Yeah, I had to get this done because if I want to sit and stitch with you guys in the morning, I got to have stuff cut, right? Okay. So there's my 2.5 inch squares and my 2.5 inch. Yeah. All right. Okay, what's next? Small gray check. So you guys, let's see. Oh, I see. I need to do this again for, okay, so all of this is for one of the blocks, red or blue. So I need to cut this again. Usually they will give it to you on the front and tell you you need 32 or something. Let me see. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, 32, 1.5. Okay, I got to do this again. Yep. I thought so. That's only one colorway. So here's something that's screwy. You get this with patterns quite a bit too, you guys. So here's the cutting list. This is the full cutting list right here for both colorways. Okay. And then you get back here and then they call this the colorway parts list. So these parts for red or blue or whatever, and then these parts for the other one. And it's like, ugh. So you got to look at what you're cutting. Sometimes patterns are just screwy. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these strips at 2.5, 2 3/4. I'm going to do 2 3/4 and 2.5 again. So, yeah. Oh, you have to close the live chat in order to see this description box on your phone. Yeah, I know. That's annoying, isn't it? There's my Frito. Hello, baby girl. She's going over under my desk to see what I might have dropped last night. I wasn't eating at my desk last night when I was watching YouTube, Frito. Sorry. No crumbs. Hold on, y'all. I have to stop and pet my baby. Hello. Good morning. Yeah, good morning. She's doing great. We're pretty fortunate she doesn't freak out in storms. Okay. 2.5. Okay. And turn this around for 2 3/4. Yep. 1 2 3/4. Yep. Okay. So look at all this extra I've got left here. That's a lot. This is a white on white Swiss dot. Okay. I guess I just kind of put it in my mind. I want to cut. I want to run that rotary cutter on the fabric as few times as possible. Okay. Oh, yeah. Let me do these two. Not as chatty this morning for me, you guys. I'm thinking. I got to think. Okay. This is good. So I'm going to fold these and do 8 at a time. You love using white on white, Sharon, for your, yeah, those are nice. It is. It's nice. Okay. These are 2 3/4 squares. So I need 16. There's 8 more. That's 24. And 8 more. Okay. So there's all of them that I need for those 2 colorways. Open this up. And okay, so yeah, here's 4. And I got to stack these. I can't see. You got your black light yesterday. So the reason for the black light, let me get mine so I can show you guys why it's a big deal. You, if you're working with, if you're working with a white on white, if you take a black light, okay, let me zoom in so you guys can see. Okay, if you're working with a black light, see the dots? You can see the dots, okay? If you're on the back of the fabric, you don't see the dots. So that's how you can tell. You want to get this black light so you can tell that's the right side of the fabric, that's the wrong side of the fabric. Very handy. One of our viewers told me about that, Kay, and she sent this to me to tell me about it, and she's such a sweetheart. Love it. So, okay, these are good now. And I need 4 3/4. I need 6 of these. And 2 more. Okay. All right, and then the 2.5-inch strip. So I've got that black light in my Amazon store in my quilting and embroidery, quilting favorites, I think. Yeah, I think it's in there. Okay, and then these need to be 2.5-inch squares. So I'm measuring from here, and I'm making sure that the edges of the fabric are even on the lines on the mat, top and bottom, so that it is square. Okay, there's, see, that's what I get for being what my mom would call froggy and trying to do too much at one time. So there's 8. And then 2.5 again. The trick is to pull it away first. That's the trick. There is 32 total on those. And then I need 6 4.5 by 2.5. There's 4. Get 2 of these off. Okay. Very good. All right. And there is 6 of my 2.5 by 4.5-inch rectangles. Awesome. So I can go down here now on the master parts list. I like cutting everything at once as much as I can. So 32, 12, 8. Okay. Perfect. Block centers. I need 3 2 3/4 widths of fabric strips. I've already cut those. For a total of 32 2 3/4-inch squares. That's done. All right, small gray check. Let me find it. Here it is. I already pressed all of my fabric today. Y'all, when I press fabric, I don't press at a diagonal. I always press this way or this way, always. And today I used my Cricut heat press to press all these out. That kind of prevents me from being, have a tendency, well, and I've trained myself over the years not to iron at a diagonal, because when you put heat on a textile like fabric, especially quilting cotton, that heat will stretch that fiber, and it'll either stretch it or torque it or warp it or something. This is just me. I've been working with garment fabrics forever. And so I like to press with the weave and the weft, or the warp, I'm sorry, the warp and the weft of the fabric, so that it doesn't get the idea that it's allowed to go diagonal. I don't want it to do that, ever. That's not what I want. Oh, I need a break. Okay. That's just me, you guys. And you know what I do on this live, okay? Again, this is not how to do it. This is how I do it. I have been very successful with these kinds of rules in my head. I did not learn to quilt. I did take some, you know, craftsy classes when you were making a project or something back in the day when craftsy first had started. The what and the what, the warp and the weft. I believe the warp, y'all will have to, I'd have to Google it. One of them is the horizontal thread and the other one is the vertical thread. When you're working with quilting cottons, there's a warp and a weft. And that is that thing that goes, you know, in the loom. Some are vertical and some are horizontal. When you take fabric that is woven, and I'm not talking about a knit. Knits are totally different. But when you've got a woven fabric, if you iron it on the diagonal with heat, or worse yet, steam, you're telling those fibers it's okay for them to just kind of wave around whatever they want to do. I don't do that. If I iron on a diagonal with heat, or if I use steam, the odds of getting these points correct, you guys, the odds of getting these right, you don't want to blunt your points. You want them to match, okay? You don't want a gap here, like on this. You don't want a gap there. You want that to meet perfectly. You want these. These seams right here are not nested, but they meet perfectly. That accuracy begins on the ironing table, and it continues when you cut, and it continues when you stitch. So this is what I'm showing you today, just how I do it. These are the foundational parts of getting your quilt blocks to look like you want them to. Okay. Again, I'm not telling you how to do it. I'm telling you how I do it, because there are many fantastic quilters out there, many more than me. I saw their work at the Guild show last weekend, or weekend before. Well, yeah, was it last weekend? I can't remember. And things I could never, ever think of. You know what was really funny, though, as I was walking around looking at those, I was like, I can do that. I can do that. I can't do the quilting, the machine, you know, the quilting thing, unless it's automated. That's not me. I can't do that. I know that. But the piecing, I was looking at the piecing going, I could do that. I could do that. Because I've been at it long enough to go, I see how she did that. Yeah. Now, the curves are another story. That's not my shtick. I cannot do that. So good foundation. Cheryl says good foundation equals good structure. You are absolutely right. And I like to start. I leave what am I trying to say? Blah, 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 blah. I like to leave the sizing from the manufacturer in the fabric. So I do not pre-wash my fabrics. The only time I pre-wash my fabrics is because the red, if I've got a red in the quilt and it might be washed, like this has a red. I have Color Fast tested this, okay? I took a piece of the red that's used throughout, a little bit of them, washed them with a color catcher. Nothing came off on the color catcher. And that's another thing. If you are using quilt shop quality fabrics, your odds of bleeding are a lot less. That's why that fabric is $10 to $13 a yard, okay? Because of the quality of the manufacturing process. I don't want to put that on here. Yeah, we can talk about textiles. It's important to understand how your textiles are made and how they behave. I'm not knocking the fabric that you buy at discount stores. I used it for years before I became a fabric snob. I hate to say that. I'm not quilt police, but I am a bit of a fabric snob because the quality of the product that you get in the end is so much better than what you get with the things that you buy at other stores. So if you buy fabric at discount stores or non-quilt shops, I will say not quilt shops, okay? I'm talking the Joann's, the Walmarts, the Hobby Lobbies. You may want to pre-wash those and then give them some starch. You might want to, if you've got fabric that you think might bleed, and throw it in with a color catcher. But I'll do a color catcher test on a sample. Like I'll buy an extra 1/8 of a yard or something like that on reds and then run those through the washing machine with a color catcher and see if it bleeds. If it doesn't, then I don't worry about it. If it does bleed, then what I'll do is I'll take the red. It's always the red. It's never any others that I've found. But what I'll do is I will take the red fabric. I'll fill a bucket with cold water and vinegar, like a cup, and I'll just pickle that red fabric for about an hour. Just pickle it. And it's just like putting dye onto an Easter egg, okay? And then you've set that color into that fiber, and then I rinse it and I lay a big towel out and I'll roll the fabric in a towel and I put it on the floor and I step on it to really get all of the moisture out of it. And then I let it air dry and then I will iron it, okay? Again, and I only iron vertically or horizontally, never on the diagonal. So yes, quilt store reds will bleed. They will. And I'm not saying that they never do. I'm just saying your odds of having it happen are a lot less because the manufacturing process is different. There are some manufacturers of quilt shop quality fabrics, the red will bleed. If the quilt is going to hang on a wall, I don't bother with it, okay? If the quilt's going to go, maybe I might hang this outside on our deck at the coast. I'm known as the lady who hangs quilts on the deck for the holidays. So if it rains, right, and it gets wet, I don't want it bleeding all over the red. So let me see here. Yeah. You're in your Amazon store. What is Zig under? Zig is under my Scan and Cut fabrics, favorites. My Scan and Cut stuff. I've got embroidery, I have quilting, and I have Scan and Cut. And it's in the scan because I use it on my Scan and Cut mats. Yeah. So when you're sewing with the pickled red, you dream of dyeing Easter eggs. Betsy, you're funny. Yeah, I do. I pickle red fabric. Why not? Right? But I rinse it really good too and make sure. And I only use cool water. I don't use hot. So yeah, it is a glue. It's called Zig, Z-I-G. Let me get it and I'll show you guys. I hate to leave camera, but I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. Okay. So this is my low tack mat I use on my Scan and Cut. I've got the little plastic film on it. Okay. Did that come off? Okay. I used Zig to restick this. This thing is probably 3 years old. It just had zero sticky left on it at all. So this is called Zig. It's a big fat blue. It's got a little spongy tip on it. Okay. And you just start putting it on there and then kind of spread it real thin. And it'll be blue all over. Okay. And then let it dry. I let mine dry like a couple of hours, but it'll dry in 15, 20 minutes. And then here's the piece of fabric I used to cut my roofs out of my wonky houses. So, y'all, I got my coffee here. Hold on. And I just put this on here. Now, when I cut pretty side up. That is nice and sticky. That is not going anywhere, okay? And then it just went ahead and cut the roof shapes out. And then, you see, pull it off. Works perfectly. Works absolutely perfectly. I actually prefer it to the brand new mat, believe it or not. So, but you cannot put Totally Awesome. Once you put Zig on it, it's over. You can clean it with a baby wipe, right? No alcohol, no lanolin oil or any of that in a baby wipe if you can find one. A bottom wipe works really well, like a Cottonelle or the Kirkland brand from Costco. You can do that. But if it loses its sticky again, just zig it again. You know, that'll be the story of your life. That's cheaper than doing the KK2000. That sprays can get expensive. So it's in the featured items list called Black Light Flashlight. Okay, thank you, Candace. When you colored your hair red, you always did a final vinegar rinse to set the color. Paula is brilliant. Yeah, did you smell like coleslaw? Sorry, I couldn't help it. Yeah. So as far as I kept my zig within the black line boundary. Okay. If it got outside of the boundary, so the machine reads these black dots across the top right here. If it got in there, I just wiped it off with a baby wipe and it was fine. It's a lot like Elmer's glue is what it reminds me of, but it's blue. And so you can see where you've done and where you haven't. And I just did even, you know, there's videos on how to do it out there on the internet. And so I watched one 100 years ago and I was like, well, that doesn't look hard. So I just did it. And I thought, well, if I ruin the mat, I've got others that I could, you know, try again, but it worked out perfect. Hey, Judy, I got your email about that iron and I will email you back about that. I did put it in my Amazon store, but I'm probably going to bounce it out. Mainly because I won't email you. I'll just tell you now, mainly because it looks like a Cricut knockoff. And if it catches fire, I don't want to be responsible for that. So Judy found a Cricut knockoff on, knockoff is such a horrible phrase. Let's call it a duplicate. As far as a heat press, you know, I don't know who puts it out there, but yeah. What is the mat I was using? You're talking about the Scan and Cut? Doobie? This is the low tack mat. This is the one I like to cut fabric on. I put fabric, heat and bond side down, pretty side up, paper off. There was a lady in Mo Queens when I was teaching there. She was cutting, she left the paper on. And her mat was very clean. I would be afraid of shifting if I left the paper on. So let's see. You just used the fabric mat. Heat and bond stayed on the mat. Was I supposed to leave the paper on? Dang, heading to, okay. So, yeah. If you get heat and bond all over your mat, just give up for a minute and go get a piece of raisin bread. That's a good way to do it. You want to take your little spatula from that came with the tool in your Scan and Cut and scrape it like you're scraping pizza off the pizza pan. Okay, just you can get that off and get the most of it that you can. Use a Cottonelle wipe of some sort and wipe it down as much as you can and scrape it some more. It'll come off. It'll be fine. You can use some LA's Totally Awesome if you have it. That works well too. So, okay. What blade do I use with the low tack mat and fabric? Carol wants to know. I use the standard black blade. I use the black blade and the gold blade interchangeably. I rarely use the rotary blade. I just don't bother with it because I only use that for cork, fleece, anything that's a little bit thicker to cut. I don't bother with it. Yeah, you're welcome, Carol. So I know, y'all, I've ruined my share of mats, believe me. I have spent an hour getting the old Brother fabric support sheet off of a mat because I wanted to I just sprayed it down with Totally Awesome because the fabric support sheet had stopped being sticky. And it came up in a million little sharp shards, pieces, because it had been cut so many times by the blade. What a mess. Yeah. Is the Heat and Bond I use in my Amazon store. Tina, I buy my Heat and Bond light. No, well, you can get it on there, but if you start in my Amazon store and go anywhere on Amazon, you can buy dog biscuits. It doesn't matter. I get credit for that. That's one of the nice things about being an Amazon affiliate. But get a new TV while you're at it. That helps out too. Or a sewing machine, or a scanning cut. So I buy my Heat and Bond, my SF101. I buy all of that at Joann's when they have their half off sale, and I buy it by the bolt. That's the easiest, cheapest way, you know. And if I've got to buy more in order to get free shipping, so be it. Yeah. So y'all were all over that scan and cut. Hey, by the way, if you're in the market for a scan and cut, I worked a deal with Mulqueen Sewing in Arizona. You can go there and buy a scan and cut on their website and use a promo code PTWT, which is Power Tools with Thread. That's my channel, right? PTWT. That way they know it came from my recommendation, and you'll get a free Power Tools with Thread gift while you're at it. So we're in the process of making that work right now. So how do you find my Amazon storefront? So you guys, let me share my screen with you. The easiest way, if you guys want to support me, and I love you for it, thank you so much. This is how I earn my living now, you guys, by talking to y'all and helping you to spend money. So let me share my screen. I'm going to go to my blog, Power Tools with Thread. I have been blogging since like 2015. Okay, let me come back here to StreamYard. I need to get my hit record note out of the way. Hold on here. And I'm going to go to present and share screen. What is the glue to restick your scan and cut mats? It's called Zig, Z-I-G, and it's in my scan and cut favorites on my Amazon store. And I'm going to show you how to find that right now. So I'm going to share my screen. This is my blog. And let me make sure you can see what I see. Yes. Okay. So there is a 10% off coupon code for Embrilliance. If you would like a new module of Embrilliance, or you're brand new to machine embroidery and you want to up your game. So you can click on this. It's good through October 25th. So I just sent a blog post out about it yesterday. This is it. And this is a free design that you can get from Embrilliance while you're at it. But the easiest way to find, or you can click over here and get Embrilliance too. That's also my link over to the Embrilliance store. Up here in the top menu, and I know some of you might be on a mobile device, but you just click the three little black lines if you're on a mobile device. It has Shop PTWT links, and you can click this. And when you click that, let me make sure you can see what I see. Yes. All right. Good. All right. Right here. Here's Amazon. Shop my Amazon store. Amy Sews. Connecting threads. I need to put Mulqueen on there, right? Designs and machine embroidery. If you want to get your bobbins, pre-wound bobbins, right here. Etsy. If you want to get Gray Rooster stuff for the clappers and whatnot. Here's another Embrilliance link. Fat Quarter Shop. You guys were talking about Hoop Sisters this morning. Here's my Hoop Sisters link. Kimberbell, legit kits for you paper piecing crazies. Me Time for perfectly pieced the Bella box and collectible Christmas. OESD. Here is our thread store, Power Tools with Thread store. That's where you get seam rippers, Power Tools with Thread merchandise. Here is Sewing Machines Plus if you are so inclined. Here's the Sew Tights, anything magnetic from Sew Tights. There's the coupon code for 15% off. Sulky, Great embroidery company. I'm going to London with them with Ellen March in the end of November. Sweet Pea and Yazzie bags, you get 10% off PTWT10. So shop my links if you would be so kind. That is how I do that. So let me stop sharing. So each time you logged in for the last 20 minutes, the amount of info you share is made. Oh, thank you, Cindy. Oh, I'm just full of it. You have no idea. Oh my gosh. No, y'all, I've just been at this forever, and things I've learned in the business. And I'll tell you something too. I get so many companies that reach out to me that want me to promote their stuff. And if I haven't used it and I don't love it, I tell them no or ignore their email. I do that. I do that all the time. I will only link on my website to companies I've either met them in person, or I've used the product and I love it and I trust it and I would recommend it to you, because that's an integrity thing for me. So I basically log into my blog. Yeah, go to powertoolswiththread.com. That's my blog. Been around since 2015. Forever. All right, you guys, it is 8 o'clock. The dogs are being fed. That means our time is up. So I'm giving you the confidence to start a harder block, Melody. Well, good for you. Yeah, start with a table runner. That's perfect. You know what? If it doesn't work out, what does Quilting Marine say? It's only fabric and thread. It'll be fine, right? Yeah. You guys are funny. So, okay, what do we got here? You might do hoops, have a sale discount or something because they're very expensive. Yes. So you guys, because I am an affiliate for Designs and Machine Embroidery, and these other companies, when they have a sale, like in Brilliance, okay, I will put it on my blog and push it out to you guys. It's important to use our money wisely and only, and buy them when they're on sale. Dime puts those hoops on sale. They do a hoopalooza like once a year. So you might have to wait. So, all right, you guys, again, please give the video a thumbs up. If you are able and are so inclined, please subscribe. We have a great time here Monday through Friday, 7 to 8 a.m. in our Stitchuation room. But I also have a gazillion video tutorials that are edited. They're pre-recorded and edited to share everything with you that I do and whatnot. So, all right. We'll talk to you soon. You guys go sew something. Bye. I got to turn this off.